everyone. Today, we're talking about your chamber as a media hub. We actually just presented on this topic live and in person at ACCE's Marketing and Events Conference in Huntsville, Alabama a few weeks ago. So it was great to see many of you there. If you weren't there and would like to access our slides that correspond with everything we're about to share, just let us know and we'll be happy to share the link to those. We all know that our local media, your local newspapers, local TV stations are super important, but think about where people are going for their quick local business news, success stories, and updates on community trends. This can be yet another place that your chamber can step in service of your region, where you are the trusted source for these insights. And with that, I also have a special guest with me today for this topic, our Director of Digital Marketing and Managing Editor for Livability.com, Kara Sanders. Hey, Kara, thanks so much for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit more about, what that actually means that you're working on for us?
Hey, Amanda. Thank you so much for having me. I always joke that my title is the most vague marketing title that you could ever think of. But, but basically, I handle all of our day-to-day content over at Livability. I handle our social media, our newsletters, those types of things. And I have a great team that helps you and I do all of that. At Livability, we produce daily content and data-driven rankings. We have our annual list of the top 100 best places to live, and we also take a deeper dive with quarterly projects like pet-friendly places and education and different job growth and economic factors. Because of all of this content that we're making, we're able to reach millions of people every year, including a specific audience of people that are looking to move to, retire to, or work remotely in a new place. And with our content, we're able to expose our clients, many of which are chambers, and push out the stories about their communities to those audiences. Today, we're going to be talking about how the role of a chamber has grown and changed a lot. The old chamber was an event planner. It was stiff and formal, and it kind of had the reputation of being pale, male, and stale, among other things. The new chamber, though, is a community connector. It's a storyteller, it's plugged in digitally, and it's been a pretty big shift to get here. But these characteristics of a new chamber lend themselves to the chamber being thought of as a media hub.
And of course, that hasn't been the only shift. News has shifted a lot too. We've got more platforms than ever these days. It's more politicized. Advertising is often less transparent than it used to be. We want to be informed, but we don't always know who to trust. But trust is something that the chamber usually has a pretty high level of with stakeholders, and they also really bring some unique advantages to storytelling. You have access to basically everyone in the community. You get to hear from everyone in the community, a lot of times whether you want to or not, right? And maybe the best part, you're not responsible for reporting breaking news, so you can really craft that narrative and choose where you want to plug into it.
You're so right. When you think about yourself as a media hub, you not only reinforce your credibility as a forward thinking organization, but can continue to get in front of more people over time. It's so important to shape your community's story and reputation. And from the standpoint of talent attraction and business recruitment, you have to think about what are these folks finding out online when they're searching for information about your community. In this episode, we're going to walk you through the process of becoming your community's media hub. We'll help you find the stories, create content for free, and offer some tips on getting others to help market your content. Of course, it's all going to start with knowing what story to tell.
Starting with, content is still king. And of course, it's ultimately what makes you a media hub in the sense that we're talking about today. It's your content strategy. First off, where are you sharing your content and your stories? An online magazine or blog of your own is a great option, and I love that it generates your own links for sharing versus, for example, when you share like a local news link on social media, but then when people click through, it doesn't drive them back to your site in the way that you would prefer. One of my favorite examples of a chamber doing this is the Chattanooga Chamber's Chattanooga Trend magazine. And we're actually going to hear from their VP of marketing a little bit more about their business trend publication, how and why they launched that, how they maintain it, and how it really benefits them and their work and the community.
Trend was started originally because there was nothing resembling a business journal in the region. You could get a smattering of business news in the paper or some of our other local media outlets, but it wasn't. There was no one dedicated to it, and so getting the stories that we needed out there could prove challenging sometimes. It's a lot easier to do that when you own your own distribution channel, and that's what Trend has been for us pretty much from the beginning. As for the process of managing it, that has always been a challenge. It requires a tremendous amount of content. A couple ways we've addressed that. One is contributors. I would recommend anyone considering something like this having a good relationship with some of your local PR folks. They're constantly trying to get stories placed, and you constantly need stories. It's a negotiation, making sure they're giving you what you need, but it is one good way to fill those holes. Another thing we are trying more recently, we've entered an agreement with a publisher who is essentially going to publish editions of the magazine twice a year that are going to be sort of collected stories. And in addition to publishing those, we'll receive some of the ad dollars as revenue, and they are paying writers to write stories for Trend. So those stories will get posted both on the Trend website and in these print editions. There's just another way to get some more content in the magazine. One thing that it has been super useful for most recently, here locally, there's a lot of anti-growth sentiment, and we have managed to get some stories out in Trend that are making the counter arguments, and those stories have then led to broader coverage within local media. So that's usually the 1-2 punch there. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get initial coverage in the magazine that then gets picked up and covered more broadly among local media outlets. One final thing, is when you're looking at things like this from my experience, this is best used in a local market. I don't know that I would try something like this for national coverage. Straight PR still seems to be the best way forward for us on that front. But as far as local media is concerned, especially in an environment where local media is unfortunately collapsing to a large degree, having our own outlets that we can get the coverage we want in has been extremely valuable.
This sort of option, of course, is in addition to the print pieces, social media, events that you have at your disposal to do even more storytelling. I know all of us here are super busy these days, so I do want to highlight this idea of a media hub and your chamber really being a media hub. It's not just about more stories. It can also be about telling the same stories in more places, the idea of repurposing. You do not have to reinvent the wheel over and over. In fact, the way I see it, you can really take two different roles in your content creation. You can be an amplifier or you can be a creator. On the amplifier side, you're curating, reposting, adding perspective, localizing bigger picture trends, versus the arguably more time-consuming creator side of things, where you're pursuing your own original ideas or taking a thoughtful, deeper take. For coming up with content topics and ideas from scratch, thinking about that creator approach, we have suggestions. One is, especially if your chamber is engaged with economic development, you probably have access to a lot of data. You can use that data to come up with story ideas, and data can also make a great addition to stories you already have in mind. I almost guarantee that your chamber has access to data that you're underutilizing.
But not everything has to be so serious. Many of the topics that we see that perform really well are more lifestyle oriented. For example, posts that include anything related to an outdoor adventure, a weekend travel guide, or funny and quirky topics tend to gain a lot of traction. Those types of content can also help to humanize your brand and put a face to your organization, which is going to help create brand authenticity. There are a ton of different ways that you can get your content out there and to tell your stories. Some of our favorite are a quick Q&A piece. You could ask some standalone questions, and it's really easy to complete over email or in person. We're going to talk about this in a little bit, but developing a content series is really helpful, and it lets audiences know what they're going to get from your brand. And finally, listicles and roundups are a personal favorite of ours. They're easy to read. Google loves them for SEO, and they're a great way to go ahead and link out your existing content.
Kara mentioned content series, and one I really like is the Greenville, South Carolina Chamber's weekly video series version of their weekly newsletter. And again, we're actually going to hear about this directly from one of their marketing team members.
We started making these videos in the fall of 2022 as another way to showcase our upcoming programs and initiatives to our investors and to our followers and potential investors. We already do a weekly newsletter that is similar to this, but we took it and put it into video form that was easily digestible into small bites for people to consume via social media. We try to record these videos each Thursday so that I can get them edited and ready to post for the following Monday. Most of the time, it's either me or Megan on camera. However, we do have a sign-up sheet for staff to participate. We think this is a great way to showcase our staff to the community and to show people who's working behind the scenes to support the business community. These videos support our organizational goals by educating and informing our investors and followers about our upcoming programs and events. We typically get pretty good engagement on these videos since they are videos. We usually get more engagement when it's a new face. So if it's a staff member that's never done the videos before, we'll get lots of likes, lots of views, versus if it's just me or Megan because they see us all the time. I have heard at events, I'll meet somebody and they'll say, "You look so familiar." And it's usually because they've seen me on the Chamber Instagram. So that's a positive thing because they recognize me from the Chamber. They're seeing our videos and they're consuming that content. I think the one thing I would add is that the beauty of these videos is that they're not overly produced. At most, I'm putting text for each topic that we talk about. And so it may seem daunting at first, but as you keep doing it, it gets easier. The cost of mics are pretty nominal. You don't have to have a ring light because you can just find good lighting, get someone to hold the phone for you, just press record. And to get staff participation, you kind of have to keep pushing. But once they realize the benefit of these videos, I believe that most staff will be willing to participate. And because social media is so casual these days, these videos I think are just really beneficial because it is a friendly face talking about something that is important to us, but in a casual way. And ultimately, as I've said many times, very digestible for our viewers.
I love that she highlighted a couple of our favorite time-saving tips, including that not everything has to be done by you or by people with marketing or comms in their title. You can engage others in this effort. I especially like how Anna Grace there talked about engaging colleagues, and she also touched on workflow considerations, which we have more tips for.
The secret to high output marketing with a small team is consistency, not complexity. You can't successfully juggle a blog, a podcast, a weekly Ask Me Anything, and then the daily production of your content with a small team without experiencing burnout. And a great way to do this is to build out a simple workflow that can be applied to a scalable series or your day-to-day task. For this example, I'm going to use the idea of creating a Member Success Mondays series. You could follow these steps and build out the series relatively easily. First of all, creating consistent themes and templates across your workflow is a major time saver. You don't have to create new collateral or graphics every time. You could just plug in some text or images for that week's video and go on with your day. Canva is a great place to start when creating the reusable design templates, and if you're working with video, CapCut is a great resource too. For my team, we love to knock out smaller tasks in bulk, so batch processing is a great idea. For instance, I like to schedule all of our paid ads and promotions on the first Wednesday of every month, and newsletter themes go out on the first Thursday. Before moving to a workflow where I grouped our similar tasks together, it would be really easy for a simple project to dominate my entire week. But consider investing a little bit more time upfront instead. For the Member Success Mondays series, spend a couple of hours gathering content by scheduling all of that month's interviews back to back. Finally, set it and forget it. Use a scheduling tool like Sprout Social, Later, or even Meta Business Suite to schedule out weeks of content at a time. Scheduling social is just one of those things that in theory takes a few minutes a day, but then it really adds up and eats into your weekly workflow.
If you need ideas for some scalable series options, these are a couple that require minimal production time. First, we love the 1-minute business tip. Grab a member or other stakeholder at an event, or even people who are stopping by your office in a given week for meetings, and ask them to share a piece of bite-sized advice straight to the camera. I love that you don't necessarily have to edit these unless maybe you want to stitch together a few people responding to the question, but you could ask things like, what's a daily habit that's had a big impact on your productivity? What's a piece of advice you'd give yourself when you first started your business if you could go back? Lots of different angles you could take with this one.
Piggybacking off of that is the idea of Ask the Chamber. These could be a quick Q&A style video that feature people on your team so it doesn't just fall on your marketing department. The videos will help humanize your organization and build trust, but the tidbits are actually going to be really helpful for your members and followers. Some examples could include promoting a resource that members might not know about by asking, what's one member benefit that you wish every business would use? Or you could position the chamber as a community connector by saying, what local events are you most excited about this month? Finally, a spotlight on local landmarks is a really simple one. You can use your phone to take high-quality photos and videos of beloved local spots and write a short caption that ties it to nearby member businesses or historical facts or current events. This shows how dedicated your chamber is to supporting both local businesses and the community as a whole. Next, we're going to move into the idea of maximizing your output by recycling your content. I like to think of every piece of content that we create in the context that it must work for us at least twice. For example, one of those 60-second business tip videos, and pull a quote to use as a graphic on LinkedIn. The video could be shared across all of your social platforms. A written tip could be summarized for the next chamber newsletter, and that's at least 3 pieces of high-value content from that one effort.
Another great tool at your disposal for getting content support from your members or your stakeholders is Marketing Toolkit. I know you've seen these in different capacities. Probably one where you've seen it the most is if you're participating in or especially speaking at a conference. A lot of times they'll give you like some speaker graphics you can use to, add in your name and your topic and promote your participation in that thing in a way that benefits your personal brand and also their brand. There are many chamber use cases for these toolkits. You think about, members hitting membership milestones. If you're a chamber that's been around for a while and you have people who have been involved for 15, 20, 25 years, whatever that is. When people join for the first time, when people support your capital campaign or engage in some type of volunteer opportunity or event, tons of options here. Some ideas for what you might include in your toolkit might be basic logos and branding, branded photo templates, ready-to-go social media captions that you've written. Think through what would make it easier to help promote if you were in the person's shoes who's on the other side of that toolkit. From here, you do want to make sure that wherever you keep this, it's really easy for them to get to. So you don't want them to say, hey, I can't get into your Google Drive, or what's the password? You want it to be really easy. And so even just a simple web page can be a great place to put this so people don't need a login or anything special.
Okay, so we've given you a lot of information, and now it's time to put all of these tidbits to work. This is where the idea of a media hub concept is going to come to life. Your events aren't just a place for networking, they're a live production studio. Social proof is the currency in the digital age. According to Nielsen, nearly 90% of consumers say that they are more likely to trust content from their peers than through traditional advertising. Think of it this way. A photo that a member snaps and posts from one of your events is an ad and a genuine endorsement of your organization. We're not just asking for content, we're thinking about creating events that make it irresistible to share. A chamber's job as the media hub is to create those moments of shareability. How can you create an atmosphere that produces user-generated content from your members that's going to work for you? Here are a couple of ways that you could do that.
This one might seem like a no-brainer. It's definitely probably something you've seen before. But one of the simpler ways to encourage people to capture moments at your events is to have a selfie or photo station. You can use some type of banner or branded backdrop, Or a local mural, if you're somewhere where that makes sense, or something aesthetic in your event venue can serve as your backdrop. Ring light is a nice to have if you have one, but just making it easy for people to snap these shareable photos.
And once they've taken the photos, create a contest of it. The Kodiak Chamber of Commerce in Alaska holds an annual photo contest for their relocation guide, and the winner's photo is featured as the cover and they receive a cash prize. For you, you could take those photos from the branded backdrops and replicate it for a networking event by asking your members to share it with a simple, unique hashtag. The prize doesn't have to be big. It could be like a $50 gift card or even tickets to your next event.
You can also do a video version of the photo backdrop idea we talked about. So similar setup, except you'll need a tripod. You can either leave a camera on it or have it where people can put their phone in. Maybe have a prompt there, in 2 sentences, tell us why you loved this event, and easy for people to have someone hit record and grab some persuasive video testimonials. Being a media hub also requires you to look to the future. It's not just about following trends, but also being able to anticipate them.
You're exactly right, Amanda. The greatest resource that a media hub has is the foresight and ability to predict what's going to come next. There are a ton of different resources available that could help you predict these trends, including various newsletters, podcasts like ours, and industry sources. And a ton of these trends are probably already on your radar. But if we had to focus on 2, they would be that you should keep your video content short and sweet. Video content is getting shorter and more intentional by the day. You have about 3 seconds to hook your viewer and keep them engaged. So if your content isn't going to immediately grab their attention or deliver value, our short attention spans are going to win out.
And our second trend that we think should be high up on your radar, hyperlocal targeting is your friend. As we've all seen, organic reach tighten, your paid and content strategies need to get more surgical. You can focus on geo-targeted content and paid ads that say exactly what's happening nearby. And this can help drive that real-world action. That's what we all really want to see. Maybe that's foot traffic to member businesses, event attendance. Really, the ultimate ROI is being able to get those offline actions in response to what you're doing online. And with that, thank you for being here to chat about your chamber as a media hub and all the creative ways you can plug in to keep your stakeholders informed. And thank you, Kara, for being my special guest.
Thanks, Amanda. This was so fun.
Thanks for listening to the Livability Podcast, where we take you inside America's best cities. At Livability, we highlight the unsung awesomeness of small and mid-sized cities across the country. We also partner with communities to reach their target companies and potential residents through digital content and print magazine programs. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow, rate, and review this show wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also learn more about us at livabilitymedia.com. Have an idea for an upcoming episode? Email me at aellis@livability.com. Until next time, from Livability, I'm Amanda Ellis, sharing the stories of America's most promising places.